Hey, welcome to day 3. Let's just get started. So in this session, we're going to talk about sourcing criteria. Okay, so obviously you know that from previous lessons, you don't want to be sourcing something that's selling for $12 on Amazon for $10, or £12 on Amazon that's £10 to buy. It's not going to work because Amazon take their fees. So there's certain criteria that you need to meet. Now, beautifully, just one click in BuyBot Pro will tell you what these figures are, so you can just make sure it meets it for you. But basically, the essentials are minimum ROI, so minimum return on investment, minimum profit, and maximum buy count. So these are some of the key kind of leverage things that we're looking for. So what's a minimum ROI? You don't want to be sourcing products for 5% ROI. Trust me, even if you're the highest volume seller in the world, you need more than 5% margins in this business, because you get a few returns, something goes wrong, I don't know, what can happen. Competition turns against you, Amazon come on and half the price, anything could happen that could wipe out your 5% ROI. It's simply not enough, okay? So what is a minimum ROI? Well, I would say shoot for 30 to 35% ROI. So when you've got BuyBot Pro up and you've analyzed the deal, you want it to be 30 to 35% ROI. Now, that's a minimum. If it's 45%, cool. If it's 50%, cool. Now, the chances of it being 3,000% are almost non-existent. It's not likely to happen in your career of selling on Amazon. So if it says something crazy, some crazy high number, then there might be something wrong. You might be, you might be analyzing the wrong deal. You might think it's one product on the store and it's actually a different product on Amazon, or something weird like that. Like it's a 10-pack on Amazon and it's only one item on the store or something. So if the ROI is crazy high, it's a red flag. So if you shoot for between 30 and 35% minimum ROI when you're starting out, and up to about 50, 55% ROI, that's a real nice safe range whereby you could make good money. You've got some good buffer in there if in case something goes wrong. And you're likely to walk out with a nice, significant, decent profit if you source at that price. And you can weather the storm of sellers repricing silly prices and things like that. So source at 30 to 35%, you're going to be all good. Now, down the line, when you're more experienced and you know what you're doing, you might lower that ROI to like 20 or 25%. I've seen people do that, but that's a different game. It's a different model. It's usually high turnover, high sales throughput. It's usually people selling a lot of stock. They're usually replenishables. They know what they're doing and they decide to just go for the faster sales on the lower ROI. But for me, you shouldn't be as a beginner. You shouldn't be venturing any lower than 30%. Maybe you do 29, maybe you do 28 on the deal if it looks good in every other way. But typically, when you're starting out, stick to 30% plus. So the other thing is minimum profit. So if you're getting, 50% ROI, but there's only 50 cents or 50 pence profit in the deal, that's a bum deal too, right? So you need to decide where your minimum profit is too. Now, high volume sellers that are maybe playing with 6 figures in stock, whereby they're turning over stock quick, they might be happy with as little as £1 or $1 profit. I would suggest you avoid that altogether. And really, it's up to you what level you go at, but I would go a minimum profit of £2, maybe $2, $2.50, maybe even $3. So cherry pick the deals and make sure the deals are good enough that they've got a decent ROI, but they've also got a decent bottom line profit. So you don't want to be spending $100 or £100 on one unit and then getting $5 or £5 back. You don't want to do that. That's too much investment for tiny return. But with the ratios I've just told you, the percentages I've just told you, that will never happen. Because if you spent £100 or $100 on one item and you got a 35% ROI, well, then you're getting a good chunky margin. It's going to be, if my maths is right, 135. Is that right? Don't hit me if that's wrong. It should be 135, but I've made quite a few videos now, and like obviously there's fees to take into account and all that stuff, but BuyBot Pro takes all that into account. So one click with BuyBot Pro will tell you this, and it'll tell you your ROI, it'll tell you your profit. So set yourself a realistic minimum ROI and your minimum profit. Maybe you decide, I don't want to source products lower than £5 minimum product profit or $5. You definitely don't want to go to close to the £1 or $1 range until you know what you're doing. So stick north of $2.50, maybe even 3 or 4 or 5, at least when you're getting started, if you can, to ensure you don't get caught out. And then the other thing on my list, which I'm going to have to unlock my computer for, is max buy count. So just a little tip, don't buy 1,000 units of anything. Honestly. Now, somebody might be out there screaming at me, if you're a veteran seller, you've been selling on Amazon for a while, you're like, well, I always buy 1,000 units. Look, when you're a beginner, don't buy 1,000 units of anything. Don't buy 500 units of anything. It's better to go, damn, I wish I would have not listened to Matt and I'd have bought 500 units, than go, damn, why did I buy 500 units? I've wiped myself out because all my money's tied up in stock that I thought was going to sell really fast. But for whatever reason, I don't know, a new version comes out and that version goes out of fashion, whatever. Some reason outside of your control, like you get caught out. So don't go for something like that's like 250 units. Don't do it. When you're starting out, set yourself a max buy count of any particular product or ASIN. It might be 10. I like 10. So if the deal looks slam dunk amazing, it's a big time winner that I would like to buy 1,000 of, buy 10, right? When you're starting out, because what you want to do is you want to spread the risk, and there's very little risk, if you like, to this business model comparative to other business models, but ultimately there will be risk. There could be something wrong. Like I bought some pottery, I don't know what it was, but they were made out of pot, and there was like chickens. I think there was like a chicken shape. And the manufacturer had made them in a box whereby any weight on the top cracked the chicken's head into the pot. So I bought like 10, 20 of these units. And by the time you'd stored them and they took a bit of weight, just a box being on top was enough to crack the head of the pot. I wasn't to know that could happen. And maybe I'll be able to get my money back or whatever. But my point is, if I'd have seen that as a slam dunk and bought 1,000 units, I could have 1,000 cracked chickens that I'm chasing my money on. And that Amazon would be super annoyed because that product's breaking. It'd be breaking for everyone, but like, it's just not good. So we spread our risk. If you're building a stock portfolio or you were building a property portfolio, you're not going to buy all of the same stock or all of the same property, however strong your conviction is in that stock, property or whatever. And we take the same analogy here. So a max buy count, it could be 5 when you're starting out. It could be 3 when you're starting out. It could be 10. It could be 20. Look, if you've got 100 grand to spend on stock, then you're probably going to want to go for a higher range on the slam dunkers. So maybe you decide 20 or 30. But when you're starting out, I advise a max buy count of 10. Absolute maximum. It spreads your risk and will keep you from getting caught out. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next video.